Hello, we've got another little, or hopefully little, maybe not, we're about to find out, project for Murphy, the Volkswagen GTI. He's just come back from a 3-month rental, a massive rental, and unfortunately come back with an airbag fault. So airbag faults and SRS faults and usually ABS faults as well can't be reset with a normal OBD scanner. You have to get a system scanner. So for the Volkswagen, they're VAG scanners or Volkswagen Auto Group scanners. So I spent some time yesterday having a look at what the best value is out there, and this is what we came up with. So this is the Ancel VD700, which is the latest and greatest over the top of their basic VD500, and this is supposed to be a VAG COM scan tool and should correct, or at least read this code and reset it, and we'll find out if we've got a glitch or a real problem. So straight out of the box, never used, I'm not going to read the instructions, I'm just going to plug it in and see what happens. So plugged it in, this is what we've come up with, and I don't know what I'm doing, but Volkswagen sounds good. All other vehicles, system, all systems, engine, brake, steering. I don't know. Airbag, that looks good. Read fault code. Front passenger airbag igniter 1. So, front passenger. Okay. And we'll erase it. Erase. Okay. Turns it off. Does a system check. Finds the error. So that confirms it wasn't a glitch. We have an error with the front airbag, but that's okay. This scan tool didn't cost us very much, and in 20 seconds we've diagnosed this and we get to keep the tool. So this scan tool has saved us the cost of diagnostics. Now we can look at that fault code and work out what we've got to do. It's a few weeks later and we're back with the GTI. Life got in the way, as it seems to always do, and we're going to see if this is actually a real problem or if it's something that we can do with a quick fix. But even though we have a fault, we don't have to immediately assume a worst case scenario. There are a couple more things we can check. It's actually not uncommon for these faults to occur because of a bad connection rather than a bad airbag or igniter itself. So the first one we can check is this one here, the one under the seat. So just a little flap here, lift it up, and it's that yellow connector there. That's an easy one to get to. The one after that, which is the dashboard connector, is behind the glove box, which is a little harder to get. So rather than go for both at the same time, we'll do the easy one first. But before you do anything with an airbag, you absolutely want to make sure your battery is disconnected. You should do that anytime you're messing with the electrical system or electrical connectors, but with airbags, never ever slacken off. Make sure you always disconnect before touching anything airbag related. So we've got a battery cover off. We're going to disconnect our negative terminal. Just like that. And then just give the ignition a turn. Make sure we drain out as much of the residual power in the system as we possibly can. And then hopefully it's safe to work with those airbag connectors, because the sensors in those things are hypersensitive. It doesn't take much of a little voltage jump to set them off. So we want to make sure that everything's out of the system. And now we can reach in here and disconnect our yellow connector. But the first thing you got to do is pull this little retainer back. That lets you take the whole clip out. And then you push down on here, which I can't do one-handed, I don't think. And then that lets you pop the connector out. Now this looks clean and in really good condition, so it's probably not this, but we're going to give it a clean anyway. So I have a bottle of mass airflow cleaner. If you have electrical cleaner, that's perfect. This is basically the same thing. And then we're just going to give both sides of the connector a good old spray. which I'm going to need 2 hands for again. Be right back. And that's all done, so we'll put it back together. That's just a press fit until it goes click, and then you can pop it back in its little retainer, just like that, and we're done. As I said, I don't expect that to do anything, but we'll give it a crack before we start pulling the glove box out. So to make sure we need to keep going, we're going to pop the negative terminal back on, just like that. Plug out the tool back in, just like that. Got power, turn our ignition on, still got our airbag fault, reset, erase fault codes, airbag light goes off, airbag light comes back on. So that didn't fix it. So I've never taken the glove box out of one of these before. We're going to fumble our way through it a little bit. First thing I'm going to do is pop this cover, just to give us some more access. So let's get that out of the way. And then from what I can tell, we need to take this whole unit out here. So the bunch of T20 Torx screws, one just up in here, one in the middle, and one over this corner. And then 3 more down here, 1, 2, 3. I've unscrewed all of those. That's 6 T20 Torx screws. And then just looking at here, I'm guessing fold that over. And it looks like with a little bit of careful coaxing, we should be able to get this out. So this is definitely going to be 2 hands. As I get into it, I think it's going to be easier to pull this off as well, just to get this one off too. So both of those just pulled straight off. Yep, that looks good. And we'll just be a bit careful because, again, I haven't done this before. There's a connector there. We're going to take that off. Let's that one off. A connector down here. There we go. Not seeing any other connectors yet, so we're going to keep going. Need to get that past there somehow. Sorry, I'm going to need 2 hands again. So just pop that past there, and now it feels like it's pretty much ready to come out. Oh, we've got a connector at the back here, right there. That's now undone. And there's some kind of clip just here that's restricting us. Don't want to damage the trim, so hold on. Haha, so I found one more T20 in there. So we're going to have to pop that off. So that's just a pop off, 2 little pressure clips. And that gives us access to our last screw right there. That's our last screw there out, so I'm hoping, yep, there she goes. One glove box completely out. And then airbag connectors are yellow. Look at that. That would be our dashboard airbag connector. So again, making sure all our power is disconnected properly. We should be able to open this up without killing ourselves. There we go. Again, this all looks very clean, which is not, well, I guess it is what you want, but don't think we're going to make much of a difference cleaning here, but you never know. Got our spray again, so we're going to spray all these connectors out with 2 hands. That one's done, and now up here as well. Where are you? There you are. There we go, that's all done. Give that a second. Still wet, so we'll let that dry out. The stuff's very quick to evaporate. I want to make sure it's all dry and ready to go. So that's all dry now. We'll plug this back in. Just like that. reconnect our power. Hopefully not setting off any airbags. Airbag fault. Plug in. Reset. What? Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness, did we just win? A bit just happened behind the scenes. Whilst I was messing with everything, the battery went a little bit flat because it hadn't been driven in over a month. And so I wasn't sure if it was not coming back because of power issues or whatever, but I was getting poor connection, no crank, weird lighting. So I've just left it on charge for a couple of hours and come back to it, and this is what's happening. So turn our dash on, accessories on, and the airbag's light's staying off. Turn it on now, it's charged. And it's still off. We've got 3 lights on there, but I've had the battery disconnected and there was flat battery or low power. I believe they will all go off when I start driving. So we're not going to count chickens yet, but we are going to go for a drive and see what happens. We still have no airbag lights, so we're going to start moving. See if these other lights go off. There they go. We are warning light free. We're gonna go for a bit of a drive. I'll report back in a minute. And we're back, and guess what? Still no warning lights. I think we've fixed it. So that's a really cool win. I don't know what that would have cost at a mechanics to have that diagnosed and fixed, and whether they would have even attempted that or started to replace things. So we got away with it for the cost of a scan tool. Everything's buttoned up now, which is all good. And one more win, which was a nice little side win, was whilst I had the glove box out, I was able to reach in behind the sound system, the stereo there, and replace the lightning jack for the Apple CarPlay. So we now have Apple CarPlay back. So pop that in, just like that. And there we are, Apple CarPlay works. I'd been dreading that one because everything I saw online said that you had to pull all of this out. So all of this up here, all of this here, all of these had to pry out so that you could then get this out and replace it. But turns out there's enough space when you pull the glove box completely out to reach in there and get behind the stereo. That's for an aftermarket. Don't know what it'd be like if it was factory, but hey, I'll take the win. So that was a really productive afternoon. I really didn't expect it to go that way. Glad I was documenting it, but I thought I would be replacing airbags and all that kind of thing. So to have it just be a dodgy connector that needed a bit of cleaning is an amazing outcome, and that's how you do it. So you got those 2 connectors there for the passenger side, the one on the seat and the one behind the glove box. So if you are getting an airbag light, make sure you check your connectors first. I've actually had that same problem in a BMW before as well, where it was dirty connectors as well. The BMW I was working on, which is an E38 7 Series, is notorious for it because it sits in the footwell and gets all sorts of grime and dirt and dust and spilled coffee and things like that. So that one was a bit more expected, but this one, you saw the condition of those connectors. They looked like they were brand new, but a bit of cleaning did the job. So speaking of cleaning, it's time to give Murphy a bit of a hose down and get him back out working. So we'll give him a wash, give him a wipe, put him back on the street, and turn him back on. And that's a wrap. Back on the road, all switched back on and ready to work. Good job, Murphy. We'll catch you soon.